a very senior politician of this part of the world, but also recognized in many other parts as a very accomplished senior leader, Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe, Prasanjit, Kanupriya, and all my distinguished friends. Let me first of all thank these two young friends of mine for thinking of working on this very important theme. But bringing people together, irrespective of their nationalities, irrespective of the faith, irrespective of the beliefs, irrespective of the backgrounds, and try to work together to build a common, prosperous, better future for all of us. This itself is the most laudable idea, and only as I can see, can be born in the minds of youth like you. Because they see future very clearly, and they've learned the right lessons from past, and they realize that building future together is the best thing they can do. And let me tell you that you will be leaving behind a very lasting legacy for all future generations to follow, and that would be a big building block that you'll be doing. So let me congratulate you for this. With this overall objective, you couldn't have chosen for your first such endeavor a country, two countries who can work together is India and Sri Lanka. Very obvious reasons. We share not just maritime borders, but we share common culture, common civilization. In fact, there is so much of similarity between these two great countries that sometimes we wonder to find out what are the differences between these two countries. Sri Lanka and India are two close friends, great neighbors, but have a huge potential to work together in taking these civilizational values to new levels. Because not many countries in the world have such rich civilization. They may be very successful economically. They may have certain high-level records in science, technology, education. But what they can never get again, irrespective of this development, is past history. Because that's something you cannot get and change. You can change the future for sure, but your economic might cannot change your past. That's the reality. And we are two such great countries. We've got a fantastic past. And therefore, how can we shape our common future together is an important opportunity. Whenever I go to Sri Lanka, and that's one of the most favorite countries. In fact, last time recently when I was there, when Mr. Wickremesinghe was Prime Minister of the country, and we together had a very important program on the Ceylon Chamber of Commerce and others. They had organized a very big get-together as to how can Sri Lanka now become and progress on economic path. Same with India. We also want to build a stronger economy, a vibrant economy, and in the immediate future, if you can quantify this overall vision, you want to be $5 trillion economy. And when you are growing and want to accomplish that, you obviously cannot accomplish it without having partners with you, because today's world is interconnected. It's already interdependent. And therefore, making India and Sri Lanka grow together will benefit both the countries at the same time. Sri Lanka, as I said, is one of the most beautiful countries in the world. It's a country whose human development record, if you go by what UNDP calculates, is exemplary. And they had difficulties. They had to fight wars. They had different challenges in the past. But despite that, their social development was a commendable exercise. And today, we can build a partnership for economic development, but also learn from each other. We can learn from Sri Lanka as to how can we accomplish social development of this kind. High literacy rate, more or less all human development parameters are so good, and therefore this is something which we can learn from each other and can develop together. I always realize that Sri Lanka being so beautiful, it's a tourist attraction. India also has some very beautiful tourist spots. It's a time that we develop joint tourism ideas. So when people come from any part of the world, come to India, they can go to Sri Lanka, they can come to Sri Lanka, they can come to India, and we can offer a very interesting package for them to see two countries on one visit. Like in the US, you always say, buy one, get one. So you can say that you can actually get opportunities to see two when you are visiting one. And there's so many ideas. For example, I was always saying that Sri Lanka's unique location, geographical location, which already has made it one of the top shipping destinations. So much of transshipment happens in Sri Lanka. But because of that very strategic location, India and of course Sri Lanka and with so many other countries, the maritime security, etc., are different issues. Very good potential on that count as well. But I am talking about, because of that location, Sri Lanka's wind velocity makes it a very attractive destination for generating the cleanest form of energy in the world, wind energy. The plant load factor for a wind project in Sri Lanka would be that of double of India. You can make 40% PLF for a wind project in Sri Lanka, when in India, we normally have it less than 20%. So just imagine the same investment of CapEx, you can have double the power generation, so you can imagine the advantage. And being the cleanest power and renewable power, you can always harness it there and sell it to countries which need it. And which country in the world can, I'd said before, the wind is such that when it blows, it goes. So you cannot get it back. Like I said, you cannot change the past. Same day, you cannot get that wind which has already gone to come back again. But we are not losing by generating electricity because some more wind is coming. The following hour, following day, following month, following years. So you can actually generate something which can give huge royalty from India to Sri Lanka, in which Sri Lanka can benefit, India can benefit, and we can develop a joint project which can bring in peace and prosperity for both the countries in the world. So I have so many such ideas, but I think with a most senior leader in this part of the world as well as anywhere else, we'd be very happy to get a vision of what it should be and what it could be from Ranil Wickremesinghe, and we can actually develop on that. But I'm very impressed by the fact that this young group of individuals, youngsters, have thinking about a vision in today's times when the world order is changing. Multilateralism is under threat. Countries are turning inward. We are more concerned about petty issues than thinking about a broader vision. And at a time like this, when the world is struggling to find out ideas how we can work together and make best of the post-COVID situation, they have come forward with this binding Bharat vision. The binding is necessary and not winding is necessary. You don't have to wind up ideas, but bind and work together to make it happen in a much better way. So I think binding Bharat is finding solution to tomorrow's world. This is going to help us in ensuring that the situation may be challenging today, but there is not just a silver lining, but there is also golden lining probably to this dark cloud that is surrounding us. Therefore, look at that part of the cloud rather than just getting overawed by the darkness that surrounds us today in this COVID situation. So let's come out of it and try to think for the better part of what we can do together. So thank you very much. Once again, congratulations to young girls and young boys of today who are going to be the leaders of tomorrow. So after a few years, if I would be invited to speak, I'll have to keep saying that thanks to this great vision of these great young minds, we are now in a much better world than what it was when I first came and addressed this forum. So congratulations to once again. Let me once again thank my dear friend and a great leader, Mr. Ronil Vikram Singhe, for joining this program. We are honored by your presence, and I'm sure I will get more opportunities to meet you, work with you, and shape the common good of all of us together. Thank you very much.